good morning, Neil. Sean here in the heart of London. Thank you for your company. I hope you're keeping well. Now, I just really want to thank you all, one and all subscribers, for continuing to enjoy the channel. It's absolutely wonderful bringing you all the latest daily exclusive news direct from London. And I also know that you enjoy these one-off stories about some of the celebrities I've been lucky enough to meet and interview during my lengthy career. I don't know how I fit it all in. I'm only 29. Anyway, back to your story. Now, one of the celebrities that I was really, enthralled to meet was none other than a man called Ricky Martin. Now, Ricky Martin, not the hip-swiveling Latino singer of Living La Vida fame, although I have interviewed him as well, complete with leather trousers, I might point out, but another Ricky Martin. He is the son, or was the son, should I say, of the late, great Rat Pack crooner, Dean Martin. Now, if like me you love Dean Martin, I thought he was brilliant, such a consummate professional. Met him very briefly when he came over to London. I was a very young child, he came to the Palladium. Wonderful, wonderful guy, and there's lots of stories about him. But I wanted to share this particular story about Ricky Martin because I think it's interesting in itself. I was going through some old footage recently and I've got acres and acres of interviews that, let me tell you how this works. When you interview people for TV tend to just take only the little bit about what that star's promoting, not of course the 30 or 40 minutes that you sit down for a long chat with them with. And this is how it works. In the case of Ricky, he was over in England because he was promoting a small cabaret tour, and it was quite a lame tour date book, if you like. I couldn't quite believe he was agreeing to some of these dates, but he was an absolute wonderful guy, very affable, great fun, and we spent quite a few hours together just talking and gossiping. He was very, very talented himself, but like a lot of people, of famous people, didn't necessarily get the breaks, or in fact really need them because of who he was. But one of the stories that he discussed at length was the very final movie outing of Marilyn Monroe way back in 1962. As we all know, if you're a Marilyn fan, the final movie was Something's Got to Give. It was going to originally star people like Gregory Peck and maybe even at some point Frank Sinatra. But eventually Dean Martin signed on the dotted line. What was interesting in this interview for me particularly was that Ricky, Dean Martin Jr., talked about Marilyn coming to the house most nights after filming for a drink and a chat. And as he pointed out, he was a very young boy who was absolutely mesmerised by just how beautiful Marilyn was in the flesh. What young boy wouldn't be? But what he did also point out was the fact that, Marilyn's affair with Jack Kennedy, or John F. Kennedy, did go on longer than most people know. Now, there's lots of, conjecture about this as to how long they saw each other, all that sort of stuff. But in this particular piece of footage, he talks about one weekend where they all went over to Bing Crosby's house. And playing in the pool next door to Bing Crosby's house was none other than JFK and Marilyn Monroe, who Ricky referred to as Miss Marilyn. And he was told, of course, not to peek through the fence because Marilyn was au naturel, shall we say. So that really gives away claim, in my opinion, as to, how many times did JFK and Marilyn actually meet? The story goes they really only met a couple of times, including that infamous night on May the 19th in 1962 when she sang for him Happy Birthday at Madison Square Garden. Now, it's interesting with a lot of celebrities that I've met because, as I've told you before, lots of them tend to stretch the truth. But looking at Ricky, I couldn't really see the point of why he'd want to do that. He was simply sharing a memory. The thing that he did also point out about Marilyn too was this. He said that she didn't seem like somebody on the verge of suicide, or indeed particularly depressed. The things that he did point out were things we knew. She didn't like the script, she didn't like the director. The only thing she seemed to enjoy doing was playing opposite Sid Charisse, Phil Silvers, and of course his father, Dean Martin. They all despaired about the script, but they hoped that their sheer talents could turn this into something. Sadly, it wasn't meant to be because, as you know, Marilyn Monroe passed away on August the 4th, 1962. And according to Ricky, it took his father, Dean, a long time to get over it. As you can imagine, it must have been very difficult for him because, there was no warning, and he apparently, the father, Dean Martin, never truly believed that Marilyn committed suicide. Lots of people think it was an accidental overdose. Ricky Martin told me that he felt there was something more sinister at play, but it could possibly now never be proven. As ever, it's nice to share these inside track stories with you, and I hope you don't mind me sharing them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We'll have more soon if you'd like to hear more. Neil Sean in the heart of London.